30 years, and now it's the turn of former Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. Speaking to the Western media, Zardari accepted the past that Pakistan has with extremist elements, a past that led to the militarization and Islamization of Pakistani society. His words, not mine. The funny thing is that despite these declarations that Zardari made to his own Western audience, he then decided to go back to his political constituency in Pakistan and while addressing a public rally, beat the drums of war, repeating his claim, repeating his threat that India was thrusting war upon Pakistan by putting the Indus Water Treaty into abeyance, and if the water stops flowing in the Indus, then blood would flow instead.
हम जंग नहीं चाहते, मगर वो सिंधु पे हमला करे तो उनको मालूम है कि या इस सिंधु से पानी बहेगा या खून बहेगा। तमाम अवाम, चाहे पीपल्स पार्टी का हो, चाहे किसी और जमात के साथ हो, आप हमारे साथ खड़े होंगे और इस सिंधु को मोदी के खतरे से दफा करें। इन्होंने ये ऐलान किया है कि वो इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी को नहीं मानते, हम इनका ये फैसला को नहीं मानते।
Meanwhile, India on its part continued to rally world leaders, especially those in the West. On Thursday, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh spoke to his American counterpart, Pete Hegseth, who reiterated that his country stands in solidarity with India and supports its right to defend itself. Remarks that were pretty much echoed by US Secretary of State Marco Rubio when he spoke to External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar the day before. Rubio called both Pakistani Prime Ministers Shehbaz Sharif and Jaishankar and condemned the attack, but also appealed to both countries to work together to establish peace in South Asia. The question is America now trying to play both sides?
The Secretary spoke with Indian External Affairs Minister Jaishankar and Pakistani Prime Minister Sharif. As the President articulated to Prime Minister Modi last week, the United States stands strong with India against terrorism, and Prime Minister Modi has our full support. The Secretary encouraged both countries to work toward a responsible solution that maintains long-term peace and regional stability in South Asia. We continue to be in touch with the governments of both countries, as I mentioned, at multiple levels.
And which brings us to the central question, now that Pakistan itself has accepted that they have a past, they have a relationship, they have been doing dirty work with extremist elements for the last 3 decades, if not more. Does the world have a clear choice when India decides to take measures against Pakistan? Ambassador Veena Sikri, former Indian diplomat, joins us along with Lieutenant General PJS Pannu. We also have Air Vice Marshal PK Srivastava with us, as also Colonel Tej Tikku, defense and strategy expert. But Ms. Veena Sikri, I want to start by asking you, what do you make of Bilawal Bhutto? On the one hand, he's suave, he's talking to the Americans on their news channels, saying, look, we have a past, but we are also victims. And then he goes in a public rally in Pakistan and he's talking about khoon bahega, agar pani nahi bahega. Does he want war or does he want peace?
Well, I think he is one of the most unconvincing speakers. In fact, when you see him speaking, like you showed the visuals, I don't think he believes in what he's saying himself, because the problem of the Indus waters going to Sindh, to the province of Sindh, is not India's problem. That is the problem of the Punjab. They are not letting the water go to Sindh. And all the water that is coming to them in Punjab is being kept by the generals for irrigation of their 100-acre farmlands and many, hundreds of farmlands itself. So the water of the Indus River has really not been reaching Sindh for decades now. And in fact, now they say that in the summer, the Indus River dries up. And so this is an internal problem they have. I don't think that, the abeyance of the Indus Water Treaty is going to reach Sindh in that kind of a manner. But coming back to it, I would like to say 2 points here. First of all, I think that the world is increasingly recognizing that Pakistan is a state sponsor of terror. I think that's the first thing that we have to get international recognition. This act of terrorist attack on innocent tourists and killing them in this bestial manner in Pahalgam, this was an act of war. And this was done by a state sponsor of terror. Both Bilawal Bhutto and the defense minister Khwaja Asif have recognized this.
Yeah.
That they have been state sponsored. Let the world recognize it and give the due sanctions and punishment due to Pakistan on this count. Secondly, I think in the FATF, Pakistan should be now blacklisted because they're getting finances for the terrorist groups and getting them to, get money and weapons and finance for them. It must be stopped. All these groups should be internationally banned. And I think that the world support for India is manifest by the fact that all the measures that India has announced so far, whether it's the abeyance of the treaty or the expelling of the defense attaches, there's been no objection or response on that. The important point, even in the Security Council resolution, the word disputed is no longer being brought in about Jammu and Kashmir.
Well,
so this recognition that Jammu and Kashmir is wholly with India and all we need to do is to get back the Pakistan occupied part of Jammu and Kashmir, this is the important fact.
Well, and if somebody is willingly revealing themselves, we have absolutely zero reason to not believe them. If Bilawal Bhutto Zardari is saying, we have had a past, almost like, they're estranged lovers, we've had a past with extremist elements, well, let's believe him. But not everyone is convinced with this entire warmongering that Bilawal Bhutto is doing among the people. For example, politicians within his own country. I want you to listen to what Maulana Fazlul Rahman said about what Pakistan's real problem at present is. Listen.
अगर हर मसले के लिए फौज के सोच या फौज की अप्रोच हो, कभी भी आप यह मसला हल नहीं कर सकेंगे जब तक कि आपके साथ पॉलिटिकल सोच ना हो, इकोनॉमिक सोच ना हो। हम यहां पर अपने मामलात को सुलझाने के बजाय उलझाते चले जा रहे हैं। कश्मीर का मसला है, लेकिन कश्मीर के मसले से पहले हमें अफगानिस्तान के हवाले से सोचना होगा कि पाकिस्तान बहैसियत रियासत के उसने अफगानिस्तान के साथ अपने सफारती ताल्लुकात बेहतर क्यों नहीं बनाए।
General Panu, you've got on the one hand politicians from the Prime Minister to the Defence Minister to the Deputy Prime Minister to the opposition leader of Pakistan saying Kashmir ke liye hum ya to khoon bahayenge ya pani, and then you got Fazlur Rahman saying this is not even your problem, Kashmir is not your problem, your bigger problem is Afghanistan, you've got your priorities all wrong. What do you make of it?
Padamja, I think in whatever is being said, a lot of truth is being spoken, but the truth is being also spoken in a very desperate manner. Bilawal Bhutto reminds me of his grandfather, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, that he would get very emotional, thumb the table, shout and shout and shout. The more he went down, more he shouted. And ultimately, their own military had to hang his grandfather. I think today, again, it is the same state of affairs. While the military is involved in fighting terrorism and fighting opposition in Balochistan and Northwest Frontier Province and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa area. But at the same time, the military is also going down the tube. Now, either the military hangs itself or they hang the politician. I think it is going to be very clear that this is an all fall down situation. But when it comes to abusing India and talking about Islam, that is the only uniting factor. So what is happening is the desperation of what they are saying shows that the politicians are going to be targeted by the military if they don't support the military. It is very necessary for the Chief of Army Staff, Asim Munir, to declare himself as Chief Martial Law Administrator. He cannot do it unless he abuses India or he draws the Pakistan army into a conflicting situation where he would support all the politicians would shut up and just fall in line. So as a result, if you really look at the current army chief, his father was an imam. He studied in a madrasa. He was commissioned at a time when Ziaul Haq had completely radicalized their own military. They wanted some highly radicalized Islamic type of thinking generals or officers to get commissioned into the military. So now we have ultimately the fruit or the seed which was sown at that time by Ziaul Haq to Islamize the entire country has now got the chief of army staff, who is a trained mullah, and he's the one who is now singing his own praise and saying that Kashmir is a jugular vein, two-nation theory, and all that he's talking about is that we need to fight because, he's talking about, Hindus and Muslims and all that. To radicalize...
Even though people in his own country are saying that your real problem is not Kashmir, your real problem is not the two-nation theory, your real problem is not the Islamic Ummah, your real problem is that even Afghanistan is not your friends anymore.
So the point is that all of them are, as I said, are in an all fall down situation. And what is happening is that they will drown each other to survive. And I think the Pakistan army has decided that to drown everybody else for their personal survival, and this is where we are headed.
It's very interesting that you talk about General Munir and Colonel Tikku. I want to draw your attention to one picture. For the last 8 days, not India, but all of Pakistan, their media has been saying, where is General Asim Munir? He wasn't seen. And then I saw today morning, the ISPR put out these PR photos, and he was apparently in the Tilla field firing ranges for exercise Hammer Strike. He's at the Mangla strike core. Colonel Tikku, first explain to us the significance. Why did he resurface here? And then explain to me the mystery of why do you have a star plate on a tank?
I'm really surprised to see a general in a field firing range standing on a tank with his 4-star plate depicting him as the chief of the Pakistani army. I'm really surprised because
and the only place I have seen that 4-star is you put it on your ambassador. You put it on the vehicle you travel in, not on your tanks.
I mean, we have to understand, you see, after all, Indian army and Pakistani army was the same. We had the same traditions. And in fact, General Ayub Khan was the most anglicized Pakistani general. But unfortunate part with them is that any Pakistani general, every Pakistani general, the way he is brought up in military, Pakistani military, and on the value system that he adopts, and Munir is the ultimate, in fact, a specimen of that. All of them think that when they get absolute power, they must try to grab Kashmir for Pakistan. This is their ultimate objective. Everyone wants to emerge as a real ultimate Ghazi of Pakistan, not Pakistan of Islam. What Ayub Khan did, we all know in 65 he did that misadventure, and within 2-3 years a strong Ayub Khan, who under whom Pakistan was doing economically very well, had to leave. Then he brought Yahya Khan, and we all know what happened. Then the Ziaul Haq came, he thought they were all wrong and he should not fight a conventional war. So he brought that jihad kind of a thing, and for 35 years we are fighting that in Kashmir. But even he was killed. Actually, he was killed. We all know that he was killed. And then Musharraf came. He did the same thing. He was removed. Now it is Munir's turn. Munir is even more radicalized. I'm quite amazed that in a conference which was attended by expatriates of Pakistan, he should not have come in the combat dress. Secondly, he said 3 things. One, he asked every Pakistani to teach his or her children about two-nation theory. First thing. Second, he said that Pakistan is the only country that has been founded on Kalma. And third, he said he did not say Hindustan. He said Hindus. Had he said Hindustan, Hindustan is made of so many different religions. But he said Hindus. And we know exactly what happened after 3-4 days in Pahalgam.
But sir, I want to ask you about this particular picture. Why has he decided to resurface now? And why at the Tilla firing range? Did he feel that people were beginning to think that he is not in control anymore? So this was more of a reassertion. Why has he resurfaced like this? Ye PR exercise kyun hai?
Because he's still the chief of the army staff, and this is a way he thinks he can inspire his armed forces. This is the only message. And second thing, he is telling his own people, after all, he has made ISI chief as the NSA now.
Yeah.
That means it's almost a coup kind of a thing. And the civilian leadership, in any case, they have been kept away from the most important asset they have got, the nuclear weapon. So I think all this is building up to a point where Pakistan army has told the civilians to stay away, and it is we who will decide what is to be done. But I think a decision has already been taken. People in Pakistan already know. Fazul Rahman said it very categorically. Their problem is not Kashmir, their problem is Afghanistan. And I am surprised that they put so much of their money into Afghanistan. They bet so heavily on Afghanistan and Taliban. And today Taliban is fighting Pakistan. For the simple reason that with India we have there is no clash of interest with Afghanistan. But Pakistan, there is every clash of interest.
But
TTP coming from there, Peshawar, they don't accept Durand line. Therefore, there is going to be a problem between Pakistan and Afghanistan. I am afraid they will never get that strategic depth that they have been always dying to get.
But Srivastava, I want to take forward the point that Colonel Tikku made about General Munir basically showing the civilian leadership who is boss. Does this picture, these images, the fact that you have the NSA appointed, send out a message to the civilian leadership that, listen, now I am going to be giving the orders from here on. You cannot deal with India. India has shown that it is going on the front foot, it's aggressive. So now the jihadi general is in charge.
See, Padmaja, I have only one take on Maulana Munir. It shames me to call him a general, because a professional general will not give that kind of statement which he has given. Hindus versus Muslims, there are still minority Hindus in Pakistan. So how they take up this kind of statement coming from the general? And second thing, we said, okay, our fight is against terrorists or terrorism. Everyone says that. Here, terrorist is the Pakistani army.
Sir, is this a soft coup? I want to rephrase my question. Do you see Pakistan heading towards a soft coup where Shehbaz Sharif is at best a deputy to Asim Munir?
There's no soft coup. This coup is already declared in a way. He was hiding and wanting the tempers to cool down, and now he's trying to show, no, I was not hiding. I was in battle formation, and he's put his plate. That's shameful. How do you put your star plates over a tank? That's a fighting battle. And if you want to fight it out, you ought to be in fatigue and not having stars over there. So all that taken, he's just trying to portray to the civilian population, which is already tormented by the economy, by all kinds of things, that yes, now this general is going to come and making DGISI as NSA. I think that's one of those strokes that we have to wait only for some time to wait for that soft coup what you're talking about. As such, this government is at the mercy of
the last legs, and who knows, I mean, Bilawal Bhutto, for all his exhortations and all of these very vehement statements he is making, God forbid the politicians will be first at the receiving end when a proper coup is announced. But, you know, for all of the things that Pakistan and General Munir in particular has been saying, General Pannu, the fact that they could not get the support, and if we'll just draw up that data of all the countries that Pakistan would have been banking on to support them, at least the Islamic countries, only 4 have stepped up. You've got Syria, you've got Azerbaijan, and you've got Turkey. Everyone else, you've got Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, everyone is on India's side.
Padamja, going back to history, in 71 war also, a lot of Islamic countries gave lip service to Pakistan. None of them came. Some gave them some aircraft, some gave them a little bit of ammunition here and there, but none of them really supported them. Pakistan is proving itself to be a country which has a bomb, and they have been naming it Islamic bomb. Now, why did they name it Islamic bomb? Was to tell the other Islamic countries that, hey, listen, this is a common bomb for all of us. It's a bomb for our common religion and protection of it. But none of those countries have taken that they thought, a lot of money will come from outside. Economic support will happen. They will give them freebies. Pakistan has not gained anything except a bad name to become a global terrorist. As a result, today, the American now they say that we did a dirty job for America. Americans are actually nowhere near AFPAC area. They have moved away. China is going to use Pakistan in a manner which only benefits China. So as a result, now where does Pakistan go? Pakistan will try to do everything possible to talk about the nuclear bomb, to talk about jihad, which is a low-cost option they chose about 30 years back because they could not fight a conventional war. And when they attempted to fight a conventional war, you know what happened? Bangladesh came out of 1971 misadventure of theirs. So at the end of all this that we are talking about, I think the politicians now realize that if they don't sing the same or similar type of song, they will be, in any case, massacred by the Pakistan army because they are not going to leave them. So therefore, you will find all of them, including actually Imran Khan from the jail, also started shouting against India because he knew that now if he tries to do something against what the chief of army staff is saying, he will be killed in the jail only. So now all of them want to say the same thing, which will unite Pakistan, which is completely disintegrated and disunited.
Which is what? Which is a more radical form of Islam.
Exactly. Now you see from 2011 onwards, if you see the number of battles, small battles and small conflicts that they've faced with Afghanistan are far too many in number. They had no option but to actually start supporting America into the war against global terrorism in Afghanistan because that is the only time they knew that the strategic depth they could show some presence. Otherwise, the Afghanis hate Pakistanis. They don't recognize the Durand Line. They want the entire northwest frontier province, a larger part of Balochistan as part of Afghanistan. And I think Afghanistan today is not in that kind of a state that it can take over. But if opportunity presents and the Afghanistan army, whether it is Taliban-led or anybody else's led, I think they all collectively hate Pakistan. Given one opportunity, I think you will find the other side of Indus that they're talking about will all be in the hands of Afghanis, and the other side that you're talking about, the Indian side, if there is any adventure, which is a military adventure, and I think China will just be an onlooker. They might do something in support of it, give them some kind of equipment, but withdraw very quickly in case they realize that the whole world is not now going to bail out Pakistan. Interestingly, India has two neighbors. One neighbor, which is on our western side, the whole world has been trying to put its hand underneath that it should not fall below a level. And our neighbor in the north, the whole world has been putting the hand on top, not to allow China to rise beyond a point. So really speaking, both are a great attention that the whole world has on that China should not rise and Pakistan should not fall. I think internally they will do some kind of a balancing, but it is a terrible situation for both these countries that if they are going to be wedded together in some kind of a collusive strategy, there will be huge amount of damage which will happen to the globe because after all the three countries that including India, China, Pakistan, when I talk about, are nuclear armed. And there can be no scope of a conflict of that nature which will go out of control. So world's attention is going to be here.
Yes.
But unfortunately, the only way for Pakistan to survive is allow its military to survive and the chief of army staff would want his personal survival would be in the Pakistani survival.
And what you have said, sir, what you have said, General Pannu, is exactly what the Vice President of America also echoed. How do we see that, Colonel Tikku? Do we see that as America just playing good cop, bad cop, or sitting back and saying, look, we are not going to stop India, but we are not actively going to tell them to go into battle? How do you see J.D. Vance today saying, and I quote, I'm worried about any time you see a hotspot breaking out, especially between two nuclear powers. We've been in close contact with our friends in India and Pakistan. Our hope is that India responds to this attack in a way that does not lead to a broader regional conflict. And frankly, Pakistan, to the extent that they are responsible, cooperates with India. What exactly is he trying to convey to India then? Hold back or go ahead and we won't stop you?
See, the point is like this. Every country protects its own interest. Now, the Vice President of America's statement, if you see it in a broader context, Trump has been trying to stop the war between, somehow have a ceasefire deal taking place between Putin and Zelensky. It is not working out. There is another black point in the Middle East, and that flashpoint itself is a big problem for Trump, because after a certain stage, they don't want Israel to really do things which will put their whole strategy of Middle East in jeopardy. Under the circumstances, I'm sure they don't want another flashpoint here. That is for sure. Now, whether playing and balancing act between Pakistan and India, there is one big cause for it. Pakistan has always done dirty work for America in this region. Always. After all, let's not forget, when the Soviet Union were thrown out from Afghanistan after a 10 years war there, it was Pakistan which was prosecuting the war on behalf of America. So it's not that something that they started knowing Pakistan now. They have been always part of, they were part of Baghdad Pact, they were part of CENTO, they were part of SEATO, they were then stalwart ally in war against terror. Therefore, Pakistan's Pentagon, Pakistan Army have had deep roots. But at the same time, will they go against India? No way.
Okay.
There is no way they can go again, because we are their now strategic ally. We buy lots of arms and ammunition from them every year. India is a huge market for them. So they are playing this kind of balancing act. But my own conclusion is India will do what is in its best interest. After all, let's not forget that I just add one more minute. In 1971, America was deadly against us. In fact, Nixon hated Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Yet Mrs. Indira Gandhi was able to carve out Bangladesh, and America could do nothing about it. So I am not sure if any country is going to come to their rescue. These are all pipe dreams as far as Pakistan is concerned.
Nobody coming to the rescue. Their friends are few and far between. Will they ultimately have to fall back on, which is the last refuge of the scoundrel, and especially the scoundrel in Pakistan, radical Islam, which Maulana Munir seems to believe is the glue, the only glue that can hold Pakistan together at this point. We'll be keeping a close watch. For the time being though, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us here with your wisdom. Taking a quick break at this point. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time.
What a save! What a save!
I need expert savings. I need my carrier.
News9 Corporate Badminton Championships, in collaboration with Pullela Gopichand Badminton Foundation, is here for all of you to experience the passion and network. This is a great opportunity to experience your childhood memories and also be part of a corporate event which enhances sportsman spirit in all of us. Wishing you all the best and hope to see you here.
Presenting sponsor, Srinidhi University. Kindle the light within. When you partner, Pullela Gopichand Badminton Academy, Hyderabad.
As far as marketing insurance goes, it's not exactly straightforward. It's not exactly a blank canvas, so to speak, because there are, approvals and regulations and disclaimers, and how do you do that ad that can catch people's attention, but at the same time, lie within the rules and regulations?
There are some basic rules in insurance advertising and insurance product promise that you make to the consumer. One is that you can't incentivize a consumer. There is no cashback. The long-term value of a consumer is telling them, hey, if you don't have a need right now, and we are creating that need,
we'll service
that, and then help him come back for a different product. Right. So today, if a person is buying a health insurance platform, there is a great chance, not just great chance, he's also coming for a term insurance. He's also coming for an investment product. He's also saying that, might as well buy a car insurance. So it is an ecosystem that we have created.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
A rowdy sheeter and a Hindu activist, Suhas Shetty, was brutally murdered at the old airport road in Karnataka's Mangaluru. The victim, identified as Suhas Shetty, was reportedly an accused in the Surathkal Mohammad Fazil murder case. Now, according to eyewitnesses, the incident unfolded near the Kinnipadavu market when a pickup truck carrying fish collided with a car in which Suhas Shetty was traveling, causing the vehicle to crash into a nearby barber shop. As Shetty exited the car, a group of assailants armed with blunt objects surrounded him and inflicted fatal injuries before fleeing the scene. The police stated that the situation in Mangaluru is tense after this brutal attack where Suhas Shetty was murdered.